Dead or alive, you are coming with me.
Who wants to be good little boys now so we can fight some more for them in the future? Some war they'll decide on. But we'd rather fight our own war right now.
Without further ado, it's time to start running!
I see 3 of them out there.
Get the one in the middle. Right. Get the one in the middle.
Welcome to the party, pal.
Apparently it's rusted junk and we're looking at it.
Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Rusted Junk, where we look at the 1986 film Running Scared, starring Billy Crystal and Gregory Hines.
Let me tell you something. When you've been cops this long, you are not fit for anything else.
We're looking for some new career challenges.
Yeah, something with a future. Show me another career they let you shoot people.
Give us your money.
You're mugging us?
I don't believe this.
You better believe it or you're dead.
Oh, come on, let us keep the driver's licenses and the snapshots.
And our badges. I can't believe that you missed all 6 shots.
What are you talking about? I hit the windshield 6 times in a row.
I'm the one who made him swerve.
Oh, you made him sweat.
Yes,
you
sir.
always aim low anyway.
Oh, good. Nagging me now. Nagging is good. You owe me $10 and I never said anything.
You want it now?
Yeah, I want it now.
Did I come at a bad time?
Follow that car.
Oh, now you're gonna criticize my driving?
Well, just that you get to do all the dangerous stuff and I get to parallel park.
I love this job.
So, Running Scared then. What did you think of the trailer?
Yeah, it's all right.
It's nice and 80s. I think the trailer makes the film look
Better. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Before we get into scores,
Scores on the doors.
yeah, it definitely makes it look better. This is one of those ones that I have to apologise for. A bit like Leviathan. I always thought this was better.
Oh.
I thought this had more action in than I thought. I thought the quips were better. I thought the jokes were better. I mean, I haven't even told you the score yet. But, we'll get into that in a moment.
I could sense it's not going to be in the 8 zone.
Can I go first this time?
Yes.
Then, for a change. No, you're right. It's not going to be an 8. I guess if it's under 5, like, Roadhouse.
Dear.
No, if it is under 5, then it means I never want to watch it again.
Oh.
I wouldn't, unlike Roadhouse, I would watch this again, but I'd leave it for a bit. And I'd watch it.
Another 20 years.
Well, I'd watch it simply for the 2 main characters, which I think are good.
Yeah.
But the film just completely lets them down.
Yeah.
So I'm going to squarely sit 100% definitely firmly on the fence with a 5.
Oh, wow. Do you want to know what mine is?
Is it going to be higher? Is it higher? Higher or lower?
What do you think?
I don't know, because the way that you just said that, it makes me feel like, oh, I was surprised you're going to give it a 5, because I've given it a 6.
I've given it a 6.5.
Whoa.
I know. That's unusual.
It's my
isn't
film.
it?
Wait a minute, it's my... Whoa. It's my film. I mean, I'm the one that proposed
your
it.
choice. Yeah.
Oh, dear. That doesn't mean that I can never pick films again.
No. Ovs.
You picked Roadhouse, so, that's fine. The first 3.
Well, you picked Leviathan.
True, but it wasn't a 3. It was a 4.
You picked Prancer.
Well, only because I wanted something Christmassy, and boy, did I fail on that one.
Oh, God.
But yes, anyway. So, 6... Well, you got to... Shall I justify my 5, or do you want to justify your 6.5? In fact, yeah, go on. Try and convince me round. I was trying to get a couple of points off you the other day for whatever podcast. I was trying to lift it from... Is it Rocky? Yeah, I was trying to lift Rocky. I was trying to lift some points off there, and you were having none of it. So go on then. Let's see if you can turn my 5 into a 6.
Oh, okay.
spoiler alert. It's not going to happen. But
Oh,
anyway.
okay.
But go on.
What, should I bother then?
No, because yes, because then tell me a bit about how you felt about the film. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. So, I was just wondering, when was?
Oh dear, she's looking stuff up already.
No.
Okay.
When was? Hang on.
You're going to say when was Lethal Weapon?
Yes.
1987.
So that was after this.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So there are no.
Consider this a film. Lessons learned. Well, it is a precursor. It feels like it.
There are no like Mel Gibson and Danny Glover, are they really in it?
No.
Although they do have a chemistry, but it
to have a chemistry. Yes.
yeah, but it's not very in your face. It's all a bit subtle, I think. But I'm not selling it, am I? But I think there was potential there, to be honest. I think, I'm not a huge fan of Billy Crystal anyway.
Oh, right, okay.
So he kind of annoys me.
That's surprising. Okay, I guess with Billy Crystal, you probably either... I guess there's no middle ground.
Yeah.
You either really like him and genuinely think he's good in what he does.
Yeah.
Or you kind of like it annoys it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there was some funny stuff in it.
Okay, yeah, there was. But it's them.
Yeah. Yeah. It was their kind of, not monologue, but their dialogue together.
Yeah.
And I think some of that must have been ad hoc.
It must have been, and spoiler alert, it doesn't come up in trivia time.
Whether or not
if it was or not.
That's interesting, because I think a lot of it would have been just made up on the spot, but there's a lot that's not right with it.
Yes, I mean we'll definitely get to that.
Yeah,
it's the wrong film. I think they genuinely get on. I think they genuinely would go out for a beer afterwards. I think they would hang around together. And I think that it comes across, the two of them work really, really well. But they're just in the wrong... I don't know what this is.
Yeah, the plot was a bit haphazard.
The plot was haphazard, great. Absolutely, yeah.
That's the word I've not used
in many
years.
Well, we certainly haven't used it on the podcast. But the villain is awful. The villain's dreadful. He's not menacing at all.
No.
I was looking this up. If you go to... Well, I actually didn't need to look this bit up. If you look at Lethal Weapon, I don't know how much you remember about Lethal Weapon, but Mr. Joshua in Lethal Weapon was the bad guy. Okay, he's played by Gary Busey, right? Slick back, blonde hair, the glasses and everything. He's basically the big bad guy that Mel Gibson has the fight with on the lawn at the end.
Oh, right, okay.
And how he tests his loyalty is... The guy that hired him flicks a lighter and he holds his hand above it.
Yeah.
And he's wincing, but he's steadfast and he's going, well, that's loyalty. And you're thinking, whoa, Joshua is a real bad guy. All Jimmy Smits does in this is drive around in a Mercedes.
Yeah, for a bit. And then gets it towed away.
Well, yeah, I mean, you don't even see the reaction to get it towed away. It's just that a kid goes and finds him, and we'll get to that in a moment. When we go through roll call, the people that are supporting this are really good, and they are really talented. So I don't know what happened, because I can't even lay the blame on the director's door, because the director is directed genuinely one of my... You could... put this right under... Even the people that like 2001 A Space Odyssey will have forgotten this film, would have not remembered 2010, the year we made Contact, which is the sequel to it. And it's fantastic. I watched it again this week, simply because I just wanted to remind myself what genius this film is, and how great it is. Roy Scheider, obviously Roy Scheider can do no wrong. Chief Brody, Jaws. But it's brilliant. It's everything a science fiction film should be. It's completely incomprehensible if you've seen 2001. If you haven't seen it, sorry. If you have seen it, it probably is still a bit incomprehensible. But it's proper sci-fi. And I just thought, so it's not the director's fault. It's not the actor's fault. it must be the writers. It's got to be. It's got to be people who developed this and just thought, here we go, we've got a buddy cop movie. Don't forget there are other buddy cop movies. There's 48 Hours.
Yeah.
So you had things, like a white guy and a black
Beverly Hills
guy.
Cop out.
Yeah, Beverly Hills Cop was 84, so that was 2 years before.
Oh, right.
There was no buddy sort of thing in there.
No.
I mean, he kind of worked alone. But I suppose if you had like the two guys from Los Angeles in there, then yeah, it's a buddy film with three of them. No, yeah, a threesome buddy film. No, it's just a mess. It's like Roadhouse. Rose-tinted rose-tinted, well, definitely spectacles because I was watching it, but remembering it that it was better than it actually was.
Yeah. It's funny, isn't it? Is that because of time and because where we're at now and, the fact that we've grown up and
not at all.
Different films that we've seen since then?
Not at all.
So why would we have thought, this is a really good film? Is it because there was loads of rubbish films out and we just a pick of like rubbish films?
I was looking at the list of what we haven't covered. I was looking at the list of what we're going to do in season 4. Right? There's some absolute genuine gems. I've listened to 2 podcasts this week where they've referenced Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield and Robert Downey Jr.
You know, that was one that we were looking to do at the first season, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
But we
and
never
now
did.
It's kicked into season 4 along with all the other films that we've in the credits and whatever else. We've got some absolute gems, and I mean it, and they hold up now.
I think season 4 is going to be miscellaneous.
Misc. Jinx. I was going to jinx you again, and then you wouldn't have to talk to the podcast. Maybe it might. I don't know. Maybe that might make it better.
It'd be a lonely old show.
Give it a try. Oh no! Don't worry. I'll keep you all amused, listeners. Somehow.
And I just want to shout out to listener 17.
Listener 17.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had contact.
Listener 17. We have taken your idea on board, and we are definitely going to cover it in season 4.
There we go.
Which I think I said on my reply. It's lovely that you got in contact. It was a really nice surprise. I didn't know who you were while I was replying to you, but I did know afterwards. So there we go. You'll see. You're no longer Peter Parker. You see. I know your identity now. Yeah. Just to come back to that, I know that when I watch Back to School again, it's going to be great. I know when I watch Real Genius again, it's going to be great. And again, these films mean nothing to you because you've never seen them, no frame of reference.
No.
And I know absolutely 100% nailed on that they will be fantastic.
Ooh, that was a real animated.
Oh, it is.
If
yes.
you could only see if it was
getting...
like video casting.
Yeah, but that's why they're in the credits. Is because they're the first films that I think about when I think, right, okay, well, I need to do like a. Credits. Obviously, this one, season 3, as you've listened to already, we have the Rocky theme and we've got the action films behind it. But the other films just kind of naturally, season 2 is not all about Ferris Bueller and it's not all about the Breakfast Club.
No.
It's just a mix of stuff. And I was just like thinking, we need to get that in there. So, to answer your question in a very long-winded kind of way, but to get to it, I guess there are just going to be some films where when I thought I remembered this better.
Yeah.
But then you also got films like Rocky IV, which I could watch on a loop. Anyway, so yeah, should we get to?
Do you think that would work with films that you were really scared of if you watched them again, like from like the 80s?
Right.
If you watched them again, do you think you'd be that scared? Because I'll give you the example.
Oh, is this one of these films I was passing while it was on?
No. I only saw a bit of it, but the effects were horrendous. I saw, we had friends of the family round, our mum and dad, their mum and dad, they went out together.
Chapter 1.
Yeah, yep. So it was just me, my sister, she's 5 years older than me, and then their 2 children, which were, the lad was older than my sister, and the daughter was older than me but younger than my sister. So there was the 4 of us basically, and they were considerably obviously older than me, so they were in their teens and I wasn't. I think I was probably about 8 or 9, and the Omen was on the telly.
Yeah, so you mentioned this before.
Yeah. And I'm sure that I certainly wouldn't have imagined this, but I'm sure that I have sort of very snippety memories of the film, which were horrific. And there was a lot of kind of like God and nuns and priests. And I mean, bear in mind, this is a memory from like an 8-year-old. And I'm what? Oh, it's nearly 40 years later, basically.
Yes.
And it was really horrible. And it literally gave me nightmares for years. And there was one scene where I think this worker's kind of doing something, and the truck starts to roll back. It hits the rock, and the sheet of glass comes out. I'm sure it cuts his head off. Yeah. And I saw that, and it was just horrendous. Anyway, I didn't.
Why were you allowed to watch this at 8?
Well, I wasn't, because I didn't want to miss out. It was the FOMO effect, the fear of missing out, because all the others, they were watching it and thought it was funny.
But
I wanted
so
to...
if we were watching it now with Pennywise the clown, and Amy goes, "Oh, is there any chance I can stay up?" She wouldn't sleep for 5 years.
Exactly.
Right.
And that was the effect that it had on me. So, do you think if I went back and watched The Omen, that I would have the same reaction, or do you think now I'm older and wiser and a little bit more grown up than an 8-year-old?
Yeah.
That it actually wouldn't affect me, and I'd actually think, it's a bit rubbish.
I think you'd have the same reaction.
Would you? Really?
Yeah, genuinely.
Really?
The films I can't go back and watch because I saw them in the 80s.
Yeah, but
no. I mean, there's films. No, not like rubbish films. There's
but was that a rubbish film or not?
No, not at all.
Oh, because it really actually was quite a
absolutely,
horror
100%. I'm not sure. Well, yeah, I could go back and watch The Omen. I can't. Strangely enough, I can't go back and watch The Exorcist.
You see, I saw that and I thought that was hilarious.
They say, but I know
teens.
I don't like Possession. Oh, hold that thought, Dom. By the way, I know we're going to do. Shout out to Dom, of course. We are going to do the horror film next. I think, maybe.
Don't do The Omen.
Well, no, we won't do The Omen. We've got to decide on a horror film. So,
in fact, I think that was 70s, wasn't it?
The Omen was 76 or 70, something like that. Anyway, so yeah, we're going to do a horror film, but so I don't like Possession at all in a film.
I didn't know that.
Didn't get into it. But also, there's a film. Well, there's the true story of the Amityville Horror.
Oh yeah.
The house. And she's doing and I don't know why, but she's doing the dishes, and she looks out onto the veranda, and there's a devil sitting in the chair. Now, when you look at it now, I'm sure that if you go back and you play it back, and you look at that and you go, that's not scary. You go, the rest of the film is, but the devil bit isn't scary. But good Lord, I couldn't sleep for weeks after that.
Oh, really?
And it was just really affected me. Now, I don't know. If I put the Amityville Horror on, everything's going to come flooding back and I'm going to go, I really don't like this. Even though, put that up against The Shining or something like that, The Shining is genuinely scary. I mean, it's, but I could watch The Shining perfectly. If you give me the choice, Shining and Amityville Horror, Shining every time.
Oh, that's weird, isn't it?
I know, well, yeah. See?
You see, I've not seen either, so I wouldn't know about those.
And you're not going to. But maybe you need to put The Omen on when in the summer, on a sunny day, beans out or something like that, she's saying, and you just put it on.
Isn't there a classical thing, but it was used for an advert as well?
I can't.
Is it?
Don't know.
Da, 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 da.
That's Old Spice.
Da, 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 da.
Yeah, that's Carmen Miranda or something.
Is that not in The Omen though?
Don't know. I can't remember. All I remember, I've got to put a bit of trivia in here, is that Omen 3, the final conflict, has Damien, the young lad, grown up.
Yes.
And he's played by Sam Neill, who was Dr. Grant in Jurassic Park.
Ah.
So he played the guy that was pretty much going to be the end of the world, or the Antichrist.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, I think we'd probably just, well, I don't know. Do you feel that, listeners? Do you think you can revisit films that, like, really kind of scarred you when you were little? Have you revisited them? And has it, had the opposite sort of effect? Has it, just actually quashed those fears?
Yeah, like Nightmare on Elm Street. I always remember him going down the pipes, and he had those long arms, and he had the knives on the end.
You're talking like you think I've seen it.
No. But just for the people that have seen it, you know, you think where he's running his knives of his hands down the side of the pipes, and there's all pipes and steam everywhere and stuff like that. You go back and watch that now. I could watch that standing on my head. I could watch that if I couldn't sleep in the night. It's just funny now, especially Nightmare on Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors. I think there were 9 of them in the end. I think, with crossover films and stuff like that.
Oh,
anyway,
films?
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay.
Anyway, should we get into roll call? Because we've got a time limit on this one.
I know. Come on, let's do it.
No. The time limit is we've only got an hour and 20
Yeah.
in our podcast left.
Yes, I know.
So, yeah. So I'm just telling people who don't know why we're rushing. You might think you've got some better things to do. Obviously not.
I've got some laundry to do, but I wouldn't say that's better.
Well, anyway, let's the life we lead, hey? Anyway, so let's get to roll call.
Roll call.
Okay, so I'm going to start with Gregory Hines.
Yeah.
Have you got anything that else he was in? No? Well, I have to recommend White Nights. He's amazing in White Nights. He stars with is it Mikhail Baryshnikov? And basically it's him defecting, so he plays the Russian and Gregory Hines is the guy helping him. I remember, and I haven't seen it since probably 1984 or whenever it was, and I haven't seen it, but I remember it being brilliant, and I just remember the choreography on it. Say You, Say Me was for Lionel Richie was the theme from it, and when you watch the video Say You, Say Me, it's all them dancing, and I remember Gregory Hines from that, and I genuinely think he's underrated. I genuinely think he's good at it. Well, he's in The Muppets Take Manhattan.
Classic.
He's in a film called Tap. I mean, these are just the highlights.
Oh, so it was Tap, not Taps.
Not Taps. But it was also, like, later on, I'll come back to one in a moment, he was also in Waiting to Exhale, so Whitney Houston did the theme tune to that, Shoop Song or something. The Preacher's Wife. He actually had the Gregory Hines show. They actually gave him his own show.
Was he a comedian then?
Yeah. Again, underrated. I think he's funny. And I think he's funny in this. When the script lets him. You know, when the script is you know, he's not doing it. He has, which we'll get to, he has the most iconic scene in the whole film. Which is, if somebody had said to me, right, you've got 5 seconds to give me a scene from Running Scared, go, it would be this one. But I'll get to that later. He did a film called Eve of Destruction, and it was great in a not brilliant way. I mean, the film itself is pretty awful, but a scientist creates a clone of herself, and she's working in a weapons factory, and she creates a clone of herself, but the clone gets loose and goes into the wild and starts killing people because it doesn't know, because it's trying to learn about humanity and things like this. But it's got a nuclear bomb in it. And so Gregory Hines is the general, and this is 1991. This is 5 years after Running Scared, and he has to track it down and defuse it. And it's great. And do you know what? I looked it up, and I do have it here. And I just said, because I remember her tagline was, "I'm very sensitive." She used to say that at times when she couldn't do it. And you're kind of like, yeah, sensitive, because you've got a nuclear bomb inside you. But I thought the tagline on it was just amazing. So, wait a minute. They've changed everything around here. No, they've changed everything around. On IMDb, they've got a brand new page, so I don't know where everything is anymore. But yeah, Gregory Hines, underrated in my mind. We can actually play now, if we go to Billy Crystal, we can actually play Little Does She Know. Come on, give me 3 Billy Crystal films.
No.
Give me
When Harry Met Sally.
Fine, yeah. That's it?
Yeah.
That's it?
That's it.
Could you give me a film where he did the voiceover?
No.
What? You probably watched it... Oh, God. How many times have you watched it? Well, we'll get to it in a moment. So Billy Crystal had his big break in a wonderful TV series called Soap, if you can remember that, where they parodied Dynasty Dallas and made it a sort of sitcom-y thing, and Days of Our Lives. It was extremely funny, and Billy Crystal was wonderful in it. It's a breakout performance. He deserves all the fame that he got from that performance. He was also in This Is Spinal Tap. He was in Throw Mama from the Train. He was in City Slickers. Do you remember City Slickers? Where they all went off on a ranch. The friends all went off on a ranch.
Yeah.
He was in When Harry Met Sally, of course. A film called Forget Paris, which is brilliant. He was with Robert De Niro and Analyze This and Analyze That, where he played his psychiatrist to the mobster.
Oh, he was in that, was he?
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay.
He was in Saturday Night Live. He was Mike in Monsters, Inc.
Was he?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, John Goodman plays Sully. So
I didn't know that either.
Yes, there you go.
Oh, wow.
So you go back and listen to him. But the film that I've got to, for me, Billy Crystal is best when he's let off the leash. And that's what this film should have done. They did that in The Princess Bride. And The Princess Bride is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful film. If you haven't watched it, just watch it tomorrow. Just once you've listened to this, if you've got time in the day and you can rent it, I believe it was on Netflix at some point. He's let off the leash and he plays Miracle Max, and he's wonderful. So please go and check that out if you haven't done The Princess Bride. If you have checked The Princess Bride out, you know what I'm talking about. Next on to the on roll call is the ex-wife.
Oh, now she annoyed me.
Yeah.
Not as an actress.
Okay.
But just the character she was playing.
Because why? Why?
Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Why? Please tell me why.
My little buttercup. Why? She annoyed me because she was like all over Gregory Hines, and you're like, I'm sorry, but
yeah, she was.
It just seemed a bit weird because, like, if you were in that situation, if your ex-husband's like buddy from work, his partner, you wouldn't go up and like slather yourself all over him, would you? And you wouldn't like make a beeline to go and kiss him and go, oh, it's really lovely to see you. Oh. It's like you'd start to think, hang on a minute, is there something going on here? I mean, obviously there wasn't.
No. There was something else odd going on, but we'll get to that in a moment.
Yeah, it was a bit weird. I don't know if she was doing it to make him jealous or.
Well, we'll leave that for when we get to film. She didn't do much else.
She didn't.
But I do remember her because I thought she was very good looking. But she was also in Lock Up with Sylvester Stallone and Donald Sutherland, which is a good film.
I haven't seen that.
Okay. She actually died at age 64 in 2017.
Oh, gosh.
Dan Hedaya. We've done him before. The police chief.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember saying to you, oh, look, it's the colonel from Commando.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it still stands. He's still Nick Tortelli from Cheers. And he had the Nick Tortelli show. The Tortellis. And he was in the Addams Family. The next one, Joe Pampiano. No.
No.
Played Snake.
Oh, him. Yeah.
Right. Wow. He's one of those people that when you look at him, you go, oh, him.
Yes.
Right.
Like I've just done.
Roll call for Joe Pampiano.
I bet he's been in loads of stuff.
Goonies. The Goonies. La Bamba. Empire of the Sun. Midnight Run. Brilliant film. Short Time. The only one of only two films I've ever walked out on, and it's not because of him. The Fugitive. Bad Boys. Bad Boys 2. Bad Boys for Life. Bound. US Marshals. The Fugitive. The sequel to The Fugitive. The Matrix. Memento. Daredevil. He was Ralph in The Sopranos for a season. So, and these are just picking some of the things, and loads of TV appearances. So he's just gone and worked.
But it's funny, isn't it? Because he's not a primary character.
No. But then he's just starting out. If you look at by that time, he'd only done the Goonies. And then, so suddenly he's elevated, and then gets all these films as a result, probably being Running Scared, because he's very good in Running Scared.
I can't believe that they killed him off so early in the film.
Oh, well, okay. I was going to say spoiler alert, but yeah, the whole point of this is we're going to tell you exactly what the film's about. So
I can't.
Yeah,
because they kind of set his character up, didn't they? And then it was just like, oh, he just got shot. And
yeah.
like, well, that was just pointless.
Yeah, it's a bit odd that he gets. It's hardly, you know.
They didn't even go and see if he was okay.
Yeah, it's hardly.
They just left.
It's hardly a shock thing, you know. I mean, yeah, it's about the same time as a shock factor in the film is Samuel L. Jackson getting eaten in Deep Blue Sea by the sharks.
Oh, don't! You've just spoilt that for people if they haven't seen it.
No, don't worry about it. Go and watch it anyway. It's great. Don't watch 2, and if you're mildly curious and it's raining on a Sunday afternoon, then watch 3. 3 isn't bad. In fact, actually, I'm under it. 3 is pretty good. 2 is one of the worst films you'll ever seen in my shark films. I've got to mention John Grease. He played one of the, and I didn't get his character name, but the 2 rookie cops that they have to train up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Was he the one with the thinning hair or the one with the
one
dark?
with the beard, the one with the
dark hair.
The thinning hair.
Right. Okay.
He's in Real Genius, and he plays.
Oh, is he?
He plays one of the smartest men in the world, Laszlo Holyfeld. And I cannot wait. As soon as I saw his face, I forgot he was in this. It's Laszlo. Now, for all the people, again, the podcasts I've been listening to, both of those podcasts mention Back to School, and both those podcasts mention Real Genius. So I've got in touch with the people that do one of the podcasts, which is called Buzz in the Tower, and I've got to recommend it. It's brilliant. It's Max and another guy, and I can't remember his name. I've only just started listening, but I've got in contact with Max on Facebook, and I just like Back to School. It's just legendary, and we just entered into a little conversation about it. They do podcasts where they cast other people in the role.
Oh.
So they were recasting Back to the Future, but on the proviso that you can only use actors from the time. You can't go back and say, oh yeah, Justin Bieber would make a good Martin McFly, which you never would, of course.
Oh, did they put the guy that I don't really rate too well acting?
Eric Stoltz.
Yeah, did they put him in it?
No, you're not allowed people that were in it who were originally cast in it. So you're not allowed to go, well, okay, Martin McFly, I'll put Eric Stoltz back in.
Oh.
Right? So I came up with Corey Haim, who might mean nothing to you.
No, I know who he is.
Yeah. Or River Phoenix.
Yeah.
For Martin McFly. Because River Phoenix in Sneakers can play a comic part, and I reckon he'd do a great job. You should listen to it.
He was really good in Stand By Me.
Yeah, absolutely.
He was outstanding.
And Little Nikita and Sneakers. Yep, he's tragically taken from us far too soon.
Sad.
But lastly on the list is the bad guy, Jimmy Smits. So he's president. Sorry to spoil it for you. Okay, Senator Matt Santos from the West Wing.
Yeah, Santos.
His claim to fame. Most people of my age will remember he was in LA Law. LA Law was incredible. It's a great series. Spawned lots of different people. Lots of successful actors use it as a jump off. He was in 24, and he played Leia's dad, Bail Organa, father figure, in Star Wars, in episode 2, episode 3, and Rogue One. So he came back for Rogue One. It's great. Jimmy Smits, really like Jimmy Smits. All of those. I could go back and watch him in all of those things that I've just said. I never want to see him in this film ever again. He is the weak link in this. There is nothing menacing about him. There's nothing frightening about him. There's anything that anyone with a little bit of nous can get out of. He's just not a villain. Not when you can compare it to villains before, in 48 Hours, villains afterwards, Lethal Weapon, it's just Lethal Weapon 2. I mean, Lethal Weapon 2, what's his name? Joss, the bad guy in Lethal Weapon 2. Oh, Diplomatic Immunity. Oh, Joss. Oh, anyway, very famous. I can see his face and I can't remember it. But anyway, he's a good villain. and he doesn't do much. But he's just menacing. Jimmy Smits's got nothing. Anyway, right, that's the end of roll call.
Yeah.
Let's get into the film.
Okay.
So, it's set in Chicago.
It is.
We're back in Chicago again, like we
There's
were
a
in
lot
season
of films
2.
made in Chicago, by the
Well,
looks
there's a
of
lot.
things.
We did concentrate on John Hughes, which made all of the films in Chicago. But maybe they could have just popped onto the Shermer High School and seen the Breakfast Club and said hello. It's around about this, roughly the same sort of time. But interesting in the film, Gregory Hines gets first billing,
Yes.
and I thought that's really well. I hate to use the term. The only term I can think of is quite progressive, because he'd not done much since then. So somebody somewhere obviously thought, what I would have liked to have seen is exactly what happens in these films when both of them are really good. Danny Glover and Mel Gibson, if memory serves me correctly, both go at the same time. And that's what I would like to see in this film. I'm probably more happy that Gregory Hines got above Billy Crystal. But it doesn't matter. We're looking at this film with 2021 eyes.
Yes, that's true.
Right? So I'm going, great that happened. I at least acknowledge it happened. I'd like it to have been equal. But it's great that Gregory Hines gets the first billing. So we find them at the start of the film on a stakeout. They're looking for a Mercedes. They're looking for Jimmy Smits. It's a really rough area. Jimmy Smits drops off this guy called Snake. We don't know he's Snake. It's Joe Pampiano. And they follow him up to his apartment. Weirdly, after playing basketball with the locals, Billy Crystal just decides to pick up a basketball on the stakeout and play with the lads on the basketball court.
Yeah.
And they just end up just punching him in the face. He's playing basketball.
Do they punch him? Or do
They punch him. They don't punch Gregory Hines. Anyway, they got to Snake's apartment. They find 50k in a suitcase. And then they go, right, okay, so I'm not going to tell you anything about Jimmy Smits. I'm going to tell you where he is. I said, well, okay. So he lifts up and he goes, hello, yes, just to let you know, right, don't come up here. Please do not. There's 50k up here in cash, and I know all you lovely people out there will look after him and make sure nothing happens to him. And you see them actually come towards the flat, and you think, wait a minute, are they going to start storming it with the police in there? But they don't. They're waiting at the bottom of the stairs. They come out with Snake. They arrest him. They put cuffs on him. And they light up cigars at the bottom of the thing, which seems to be a thing that they do.
Yeah.
After a successful bust. They go after... So they do that. They go after... They try to find Gonzalez, which is the name of Jimmy Smits. And then they have to go to... This is the weird thing. He then says... Right, you've got to go with me because I've got to go and see Aunt Rose. And he goes to a funeral.
Oh, God, yeah, the funeral. It's the three of them.
Yeah. He takes
Snake in handcuffs.
Snake in handcuffs. Gregory Hines with 50k in a suitcase, but they go to the funeral of Aunt Rose. And you would have thought, well, if I was going to a funeral, I'd have taken the day off. Or the morning off, or something like that. But no. There he sees his ex-wife. The Italian, his other aunt is basically saying, if you're Italian, you never divorced, you just temporarily separated or something like that. Mm. It's kind of like or the Italian thing. And then they go back in the car, and they're held up. So they go back to the car, the funeral, and they're held up by two guys. They basically said, what's in the case? And that's what you would have heard in the trailer. It's, well, take the wallet, but no, leave the badges. And then they show them the police officers. And they try and hold them up. And they said, look, there's 50 grand here, it's fine, take it. Because it's not theirs. And Snake's going, oh, no, you can't do that. But they end up chasing the guys away. They get into the car speeds off and then turns around as if it's going to come back at them, and all they need to do is literally step out of the way. But weirdly, they take out the guns and start firing into the car. And I'm like, police brutality and an overreaction to a car coming at you is just to shoot at it. It just seemed a bit weird. But then you get the banter and you get the thing between them, and it's kind of like puffed over. But here's the thing I had the most problem with. They get back to the precinct. It's obvious that Gregory Hines has got a bit of a problem because he gets served for some sort of police brutality thing that he's been doing. So he gets like the court order given to him. And then weirdly, the action cuts to the bar. Now, do you want to take over at this point? Do you want to explain the bar scene? Because...
Well, there were a few of them. Which one?
The first one, where he meets the black woman.
Wow. They're just talking that one.
Yeah.
And he ends up going back to his apartment with her.
It's almost like, do you want to go out for a beer after work? And within 90 seconds of dialogue, if that, he's wooed this girl. And the next scene is Billy Crystal going round to bring him breakfast. Donuts in his apartment, switching on the police bike that he's got in his studio flat, open plan studio flat.
Very
thing.
odd.
Yeah. Switching the siren on, and the two of them get up from bed. And it's weird because there doesn't seem to be any... He seems to have picked her up like he would have picked a coat up. It's just so quick.
But it's weird though, isn't it? Because he said that he's been married, and she said, so have I.
Yeah.
But she doesn't say anything else, does she?
No.
So you don't actually know until later on in the film when he turns up.
Oh, her character development is A, shameful, and B, woeful. It's dreadful. It doesn't make any sense.
So when he turns up, he pretends to arrest her, and like when he arrives at her apartment, this older guy.
Oh, we haven't got to
door.
that. Yeah, well, we haven't got to that bit, but yeah, that's what happens.
And he says something about parking tickets, unpaid parking tickets. Anyway, he supposedly arrests her, and she goes off with him for the night. Then they're back at the bar.
Yeah, and then back at the bar.
But he's handcuffed her.
But wait a minute, back at the bar on a night out for his friend's birthday.
Yes.
It's almost like, hello, I've just arrested you. Your husband's probably worried sick, right? There's probably a lot of stuff going on. But you're with me now because I met you in a bar 4 scenes ago.
Yeah.
Over 90 seconds. You spent the night with me. By the way, Billy Crystal says on that first night, well, how was she?
Yeah.
And he's like, well, you better ask her. It's just not good.
No, it's not good.
And it really doesn't hold up. Later on, he arrests the husband.
Yes.
Gets the husband arrested so that he can see her. And I'm like, that's just really odd. That's the writer's fault.
Yeah.
That's not Gregory Hines' fault. No, I won't hear a word said. But they get back to the precinct, and his ex-wife's there. And the ex-wife is telling him, hi, yeah, I'm getting married. But there's no real flow to this film. No. It's just going from one scene to the next scene to the next scene to the next scene. But at the same
time, a legal guy comes in and is trying to find Billy Crystal. So Gregory Hines pretends that he's Billy Crystal's character and ends up in the ladies' loo, and this guy's trying to find him, and he thinks he's going to serve him with a notice.
Yeah, just to get him a bit of time to speak to.
So he could speak to his wife. But it turns out that his Aunt Rose has left him $40,000.
$40,000, yeah. Oh, anyway, they at this point it's almost like they go to Snake and they basically go, we can't hold you, you need to wear a wire. And he's going, I'm not wearing a wire. He goes, right, okay, well, we could just let you go and then we'll bust him anyway, and then everyone will think it's you that squealed, so you might as well help us. So he does. He wears a wire. They go into the stakeout. They end up in a boatyard. So they end up on that ship, don't they?
Yeah. No, right? Basically they take his money off him and only give him $5,000 back.
$5,000 and say if you want the other 45,
yeah, you got to comply with us.
Right. And he says, I really need that back.
Which is right. But there we go.
They go in there again. storming a boat, you know, it's like the end of The Usual Suspects, or it's like the start of Captain America, you know, The Winter Soldier. Storming a boat should be exciting. Here, they walk round a corner, and then they see...
It was really
because they hear
weird,
Snake
wasn't
on the
it?
wire going, oh, no, don't shoot me, and all this on. They turn the corner and realise they've been had.
Yeah,
And it's a setup. But they don't realise that two of the goons with guns are undercover cops.
Yeah, working on a drug enforcement agency.
So they have to show their hand in order to save the two of them, in order to do it. There's a Chinese guy in there.
That's when
and I
Snake
thought,
gets shot. That's when Snake gets shot.
That's when Snake gets shot and dies.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Not just shot and then
No.
comes back, you know, like Joe Pesci in Lethal Weapon. And speaking of Lethal Weapon, there's a Chinese guy, and I feel appalled that I haven't looked up his name. But the Chinese guy then is the same one that tortures Mel Gibson in Lethal Weapon, and is the same guy that gets shot on the rooftop by Bruce Willis in Die Hard. I'm not saying he's typecast, but he doesn't say an awful lot. It just doesn't. So yes, the undercover shot. Joe Pampiano dies, which I said unexpected. They just leave the guns there. There's all these guns that
Yeah.
are being delivered, and they just leave them there.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's not like
isn't
they go and secure them.
No.
They arrest Jimmy Smits in the end, so
Yeah.
they get him. The captain then says, whoa, you can't do all of this. You've broken, you know, goddamn, you've broken all these violations and all this sort of
Plus,
thing.
you've meddled with the drug enforcement agency operation.
Absolutely.
And you've blown their cover.
Yes, so you need to go on enforced vacation.
Yes.
So where did they go?
Key West.
Key West. To go to Key West. Bars, sunsets, girls, so they're not suspended. And then they decide to go harvest on a bar.
Yeah.
And he gets Gregory Hines to cash in his pension. Now, I had a real problem with the pension bit, because Gregory Hines is supposed to be 34. In there, he said his 34th birthday. Right?
Oh, and they argue... No, 36.
And it's 36, because no, it's 34. Right, let's put it 36. He says, you've got 20 years of pension you can cash in. So was he a cop at 16? And you're like, it doesn't make any sense.
I didn't get that one.
He
Oh,
wouldn't
wow.
have had loads of money.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have had anything to cash in. There's nothing to cash in. But apparently, he's got enough to go house on the bar. They do it all. They cash in the pension while they're on holiday and decide to buy the bar.
Or is it like more of like, you know, our armed forces? They get like a pension, don't they, when they get to a certain point after so
They
many
do,
years
but I don't
service.
think it's the same for... I don't think it's the same for cops. But maybe I'm wrong. Any police officers listening and can put us right, by all means. So, you then get the running scared. You then get the Sweet Freedom in the background. Michael McDonald. It's all
They're
party
with
time.
different girls every day. I thought
Different
that
girls
was
every day.
awful.
Different girls on the back of the bike.
I wrote in here, the Key West holiday, mopeds in shorts and bikinis.
Yeah.
Oh my God, they're just asking for trouble, aren't they?
Yeah.
Falling off, they'll be ripped to shreds.
Oh, crikey. I don't
Did
think...
you not think about that?
Yeah, but I don't think people think about that when they're going on...
See, that's
So
my
if you
risk
went on holiday
sort of
when
head
you were young and you went on holiday,
Yeah.
and you hired some bikes or something
Never
like
have.
that, right? So what would you have gone, right? Excuse me, can you just wait while I put on the full leathers in case I fall off?
I never have done. I've
No,
never
but
been
what
on a
would you?
moped.
It makes me think now. You wouldn't have just gone with it and gone, oh, it's hot. I've got my bikini on.
No,
I've
God,
put some
no,
shorts
I
on."
wouldn't have done that.
No,
No,
you'd put a helmet on. That's it. You do
no,
what
I'd put.
pretty much every single person who hires a moped on holiday does.
Well,
They don't put on leathers.
okay, all right.
Pootling around the island.
Right, but I was always in a car. It was a Jeep, an open top Jeep, whenever I went on holiday.
Did you make sure you had your elbow
I
pads
wasn't
on?
driving, but
Just in case,
should we?
Anyway, they go back to Chicago and go, right, we're going to retire.
Oh,
We're
and
gonna
can I
quit."
just point out,
Okay.
right, there obviously must have been at some point in the film when they were filming proper snow. Right? And then throughout the rest of the film, it's this awful, awful fake snow and it's foam, and it's just literally like somebody's let a fire extinguisher off. Did you not see that? No. Nearly all the film, apart from when they were talking with each other outside, and it was dark, and it was like proper like snow at that point.
Right.
But yeah, everything else, it must have been like April or May when they filmed some of the other stuff, because the sunlight's different.
Yeah.
And there's no breath, so you know when it's cold you get that breath sort of mist thing. Nothing like that. And it's just like fake snow, which is literally like fire extinguisher foam blasted everywhere.
Right, okay.
You not see it?
No, I just
Oh, good lord.
I was obviously engrossed in the movie, you know.
Clearly. Okay.
Something like that. Anyway, we're running out of time. We're running out of time with what we need to do, so we'll shift on a little bit more. They get back to Chicago and say that we're handing our 30-day notice in, and then they get told, oh, by the way, the boss goes, fine. Well, you know, you heard in the trailer, well, where else have you got a profession where you can shoot someone? They give them 30 days notice, but then say, oh, by the way, Jimmy Smits is back on the street. So they set out in their 30 days to find him.
Yeah.
They go wandering around,
and then for their mistake they made about the drug bust and like exposing that, the two guys have to tag along with them, don't they?
Have to tag along because they're the replacements.
They're the replacements. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're with it. They find they drive it around the town.
Oh, it's to provoke him, isn't it? And
to provoke him to say, yeah, we've got you. They get his Mercedes out of the
compound.
Compound. They find the Mercedes. They get it towed, and one of the kids runs off. Then they find presumably his mum, the apartment. There's a Mexican standoff. Gonzalez leaves. He then takes a hostage, and they take off their pants to placate him. I don't remember him ever asking them to take the pants off.
Oh, it's because his wife or whoever it was that he was having a liaison with in that room, and he escaped out the window or whatever.
Oh, we needed some pants.
He'd only got like
wide fronts on.
Yeah.
Right.
I call them pants.
I missed that bit.
I call them pants. You call trousers pants. That's weird.
Well, it's not really.
And I would say he'd only got his knickers on, but men don't wear knickers unless they're into something.
I don't think I would ever use the term knickers to describe boxers, wide fronts, trousers, anything.
No, but
right.
Anyway.
So yeah, don't know where we got to that.
They're men's briefs.
I used a term.
There we go.
Wait a minute, listeners. I used a term earlier this week.
Men's slips.
Right, and I do this a lot, and I come out with something, and she goes, "What?" And she does this. You do this thing where you stare at me and you squint your eyes as if to go, "Don't I just hear that right?" Right. Now, genuinely, I know none of you are writing to us as much as you would like to, but I just genuinely, if you knew what this next line meant when I said it, I want you to write in and say, I knew what it meant. So I said, I heard a thing, I said something on a phone call, and in the background somebody said, oh, you need your bumps feeling.
I just don't get it.
Right.
I've
now,
never heard it.
if you know what it is, it's your duty to write in and say, I know what you mean by you saying that. For those that don't know...
It's not rude, by the way.
It's not rude. It means you're stupid because you must have been hit over the head, so you need your bumps felt.
No,
it makes perfect sense to me.
Never heard that phrase before.
Well, anyway, so... Well... Anyway... So the mechanic back at the pound is one of the guys that stars in John Hughes, and I should have got his name. He's the police chief in Home Alone. Ring up. He keeps transferring him back and forth.
Is it also Thingy's dad? The girl I'm not very fond of in the 80s. Does he play her dad in one of the films? You know, where she's dressing up and... No,
that's Harry Dean Stanton. You're thinking of Pretty in Pink.
Okay, it's not
him. No, it's definitely not him. Anyway, let's skip on a little bit. They get to... There's a drug... They get a tip off that there's... on a plane coming in with some drugs.
And it's a setup, basically.
And it turns out to be very weak.
Well, it's not a setup, it's a decoy.
It's a decoy. The dog scents the drugs. They test it and go, yeah, it is, but it's very, very weak cocaine. Meanwhile, on the plane, while the police are looking one way, the other plane comes in on the other runway.
And it's
they've got £3 million worth of drugs.
And a priest.
Yeah, it's a nun and a priest that are doing
But they
this.
don't realise.
Yeah, absolutely no.
They've just bought artefacts.
They have a car chase.
Where was it? Colombia. Artefacts from Colombia in a suitcase.
They have a car chase on the runway. All over the runway.
Yeah.
And you're like...
That would never happen.
You know, you get tires, you get your tyres shot
like
out,
Die
and then 2
Hard,
minutes
isn't it?
later you get
Never
shot. What? Die Hard 2?
Yeah.
Well, no, they take over the airport. That's a little different.
Okay. Anyway.
Well, there's nobody to shoot them. But anyway, okay. Comparisons. Maybe we do film comparisons with Amanda. Maybe that could be a new one. So there's a car chase, and they chase this car, and they end up on the rails.
They're in the taxi.
Yeah, they're in the taxi.
Their new
unmarked
decoy car.
The decoy car.
And they've got the priest and the nun in the back.
It sounds like the start of a good joke.
It
so
does.
There's a priest and a nun in the back,
of a taxi.
Takes a taxi.
And literally, this just goes everywhere, doesn't it? All around the city. And then they end up, like...
On the metro.
On the rail line, on the track.
And
I said, that's ridiculous, because it goes on forever. And I said, within 2 minutes, those tyres would have been shredded on those tracks.
Yeah.
And they would have been down to the rims, literally.
Yeah.
And it would have come to a stop. But no, it seems to have gone on for miles. But you can even see on, like, part of the film... I don't know if you clocked it, but like when they did the rear view of the taxi going down the track, you could see they'd got adapted wheels,
right?
That were rail track wheels.
We'll get to that in trivia time.
It just annoyed me.
Well, I know. Yeah, this is why I can't believe you 6.5, because when we paused it again, that you did to make a cup of tea, I'm like thinking it feels like Roadhouse. It feels like, oh God, we're coming back. Go on then, start it up again.
Yeah, but you see, my score wasn't that low as yours for Roadhouse.
Yeah, but I was kind of enjoying it till then.
Mine was a 6.
Well, 6.5. I thought you gave it 6.5.
No, it was a 6.
Oh, you said 6.5 at the start.
Roadhouse was a 6.
Oh.
This is a 6.5.
This is 6.5, right, okay. So similar sort of territory. So anyway...
I kind of gave up writing notes after that point.
Do you know what?
Because it got a little bit farcical, didn't it? The whole kind of last sort of scene.
Yeah, so Gregory Hines needs his end away. So he gets he phones the two rookies there and says, oh, by the way, we think that this lawyer is implicated in the Gonzalez case. Gets him arrested so Gregory Hines can then go into a house and knob her again. And I'm like, is this how it works? Because this is not, you know, I mean, even, you know, when we say things don't age well, right? There's just, I can't see, it's not even remotely funny.
No,
it's not even remotely endearing. It's not even only, you know, it's just out of place, completely out of place.
Anyway,
ex-wife, she gets kidnapped by Gonzalez, and he says, I want my cocaine back because it had been impounded. It's £3 million of cocaine. So dollars, sorry. So
they go and get it out of the stores, don't they? £3 million.
And he says, "You're not having this. You can't have this until you partnered. Until I hear from the captain." So he's in Billy Crystal's in the captain's room, and pretends to be the captain. And then says, right, okay, he'll be right down. And Billy Crystal comes in and they end up taking the cocaine.
Yeah,
right.
Which would never happen.
And then it gets to the bit of the film that I genuinely did like. I think it's a good shootout at the end.
You actually liked that?
I kind of did.
I thought it was awful.
Do you know why? Because here's my iconic scene. Gregory Hines abseiling down from the roof.
That was a joke. That was a joke.
No. He abseils down from the roof. It's in the trailer.
But
go watch the trailer. It's there.
It was farcical.
No.
Because he gets stuck.
Yes, but what I'm saying is, it's a good scene.
And I just think, in real life, if that happened, if they were having a shootout in real life, he'd have been a sitting duck, literally.
Yes.
And they would have shot him.
Yes, he would have got shot. Yeah, true. But yeah, anyway. Everyone's rescued. Jimmy Smits gets shot. The end.
The two guys turn up.
Yeah, the two guys turn up. They get pinned down. They end up saving them. I didn't write anything after that because I was just thinking, right, okay, well here's the end.
And it wasn't even a bust out, like a stakeout or anything, that was authorised by anybody in
Well,
the
they get to a
police
public
force.
place, and Jimmy Smits guys have tied up all the security guards and nicked their uniforms.
Oh.
So it's not a public place at all. No, anyway, there we go. Running scared. Won't be watching it again. I won't be racing to do it. A Roadhouse Leviathan Prancer, running scared, quadruple bill. Would you do that?
What?
Would you watch all four?
No.
What if I said I'd give, not that I would, but
Well, no,
if somebody
then.
said you give £1,000 to charity if you watch all four of them?
Oh, well, yeah, all right then.
All four?
Yeah.
God, Prancer, that's it. I could make
I know.
it through all of them, but
It's a
I
horror
don't.
film.
I couldn't do Prancer again. I honestly never want to see that ever again.
I would, because I'd like to see, what's his name? The guy out of Roadhouse. The actor. Rubbish.
Patrick
names.
Swayze?
No, the other one. His
Sam
mate.
Elliott?
Yes, him. Yeah, I'd like to see him in the film and see how bad he is in Prancer.
Oh, right, yes, absolutely.
Now I know who he is.
Anyway,
Yes.
should we move to trivia time?
Go on then. How long we got left? Probably about 10 minutes.
About a quarter of an hour.
There we go. Right, go on.
Okay, trivia time.
Yeah.
Trivia time.
Okay. The original script was written for Gene Hackman and Paul Newman. Those are the two that's supposed to be in it.
Oh, sorry. In my head, I'd got Gene Wilder then.
Gene Wilder. Well, yeah. Well, Willy Wonka. Yeah, that would have worked. Before the director, Peter Hines, decided to make the Hughes and Costanzo characters younger. But Tom Selleck and John Travolta were also offered the roles. Tom Selleck, turned it down due to commitments to Magnum PI, while Travolta's, at the time, agent, Michael Ovitz, felt that the project was wrong for him. It would have been wrong for him. It'd have been wrong for all of those actors, because it's a lousy script. On the television series Directors, Peter Hines stated that when MGM offered him the project, so to make Running Scared, following the success of 2010, Here We Make Contact, Hines suggested the idea of two young Chicago cops who don't retire. That's what the story should be, and they agreed. Oh, I forgot this piece of trivia, and I feel awful now for saying the writers should be shot.
Because he was.
Gary DeVore, the screenwriter for the movie, disappeared in June 1997 while driving at night from Santa Fe, New Mexico to Santa Barbara, California, prompting extensive search and media speculation. I feel awful now. A year later, he and his car were discovered submerged below a bridge over the California Aqueduct near Palmdale, California off Highway 41. DeVore was driving back from home. It was believed that he'd fallen asleep and drove into the aqueduct.
Oh,
However,
no.
some conspiracy theories claim he was murdered.
Oh.
See, I apologise for this next piece because I obviously missed this when I was collating it. In several outdoor scenes, snow is simulated with foam.
Oh, it was awful.
Okay.
It's the worst snow foam ever.
Snow foam.
Snow foam.
Still cold. A sequel titled Still Running was planned and different scripts were written.
Oh no.
But Billy Crystal and Gregory Hines did not think any of them were strong enough to warrant a sequel and turned them all down. Funnily, they didn't cast their critical eye over the original script, but still, apparently, God knows what Still Running script looked like if it was that bad that they turned it down. A spin-off music video was produced for Michael McDonald's hit single Sweet Freedom, which is brilliant. By the way, love Michael McDonald. Love, 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 Michael McDonald, which is a major part of the film soundtrack. In the video, Ray and Danny are in their squad car looking at a postcard from McDonald in Florida, which says, "Wish you were here," implying that that was the inspiration for them choosing that as their holiday destination. We then see a montage of action scenes from the film over the song's intro, followed by Michael McDonald singing the song at his keyboard in a Florida bar. At the song's climax, Ray and Danny join with him and have some beers and dance along and join in the song's backing vocals as it draws to a close.
Was that in the film?
It wasn't in the film, no.
Huh.
No. The suspension systems of 3 Chevy Impalas were destroyed filming the train tracks chase scene.
Oh, there we go.
So the suspension got it.
Well, you saw, as they were driving it, like, over the sort of bridge bit, it was going... Dun, dun, dun,
Yeah,
dun,
and they
dun,
used the
dun,
same
dun,
scene
dun,
of
dun.
going around the corner 3 times.
I was actually doing something then, and you wouldn't have seen what I was doing, but it was actually, like, going up and down quite
She's
rapidly.
moving her hand up and down.
Yeah, it was going up and down, this car, basically.
Insert crude joke here. I thought of at least 4. For this is an extreme bit of trivia. The building scene where Danny and Hughes throw their pants to Julio with the hostage is the same building that Child's Play was filmed. There you go. In an interview, Peter Hines states that when he said he wanted Billy Crystal and Gregory Hines from this movie, he heard a big thud. At the time, both actors were not household names like they became later on in their careers. So basically the studio were like going, who are these guys? What have they done? And he goes, no, I want these 2 for the film. So Anyway, while on the beach in Florida, our heroes, on seeing a large crowd, are told by I got this piece of trivia off a site where people submit their own pieces of trivia.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
But we're not necessarily sure it's verified, though.
Well, I guess with this one, how would you make it up? Why would you make it up? While on the beach in Florida, our heroes, on seeing a large crowd, are told by a very beautiful blonde that they are just watching the sunset.
Oh, yeah.
She then appears throughout the Florida montages, Sweet Freedom playing in the background, most notably on the scooter ride and boat scenes. She also appeared, and I did check this out yesterday, in the Michael Jackson video Black or White. Her name is Meg Register. Not Cash Register. At least it was when we attended school together in Falls Church, Virginia. She was a natural platinum blonde and had always said one day she'd be in a movie. Well, she appears as the blonde in Running Scared and appears in a Michael Jackson video and pretty much nothing else.
Oh, well.
Well, at least that's more than we've got. So the last bit is a thing they got from Peter Hines, the director himself. He recalled after 2010 he wanted to remain earthbound. He wanted to do a comedy that was not stupid and a film that had action in it, but a film where the action was not mean-spirited, bloody or graphic.
Dumbed down then.
Yeah. MGM came to him with a script with him about 2 elderly cops in New York who retire. He wanted to make it about young cops. Hines thought this opened up a set of casting possibilities that were fresh and gave a chance visually to use a city that's not used as much in Chicago. There were a lot of cop movies around at the time, so I decided if I wanted to be interesting, I needed to do 2 actors you'd not normally expect to see in an action movie. So I wanted Crystal and Hines, and I got them, and they were wonderful because they just clicked. The movie was filmed from September 85 to January 86, 6 weeks of filming in MGM Studios, plus location work in Key West and Chicago, so it wasn't like they just moved to California. They went to Key West.
Yeah, it looked genuine.
And lastly, how much did it make at the box office?
Not much.
I forget.
Make?
Yeah.
Or, what, profits or turnover?
Well, no, turnover. It's all about turnover. Okay. I mean, Avengers Endgame made $3 billion, but it probably cost about $1.5 billion to marketing.
$6 million?
$38 million.
Oh.
It was quite popular. Anyway, there we go. So that's Does this bring to an... If we're doing horror next, if I'm doing horror, are we doing one more film after that for season 3? And then bringing season 3 to a close?
I don't know. Should we have this conversation offline rather than take up the time?
All right, okay. No, we've still got another couple of minutes left. But yeah, I guess we could do...
bits and bobs to put in.
Yeah, okay. Well, with the bits and bobs, don't go and watch Running Scared. There'll be a horror film next. And shortly after that, we'll do our film. We'll do our season finale, whatever that's going to be. And then, roll on.
Have we done enough, though, for season 3?
Yeah, we've done loads.
Have we?
Yep.
Have we?
Yeah.
I feel like we haven't really covered it.
Pretty much.
Okay,
We've done
right.
Jean-Claude Van Damme, we've done Stallone, we've done Escape from New York, so we've done Kurt Russell, we've done Patrick Swayze. Oh, we've been all over the place. we visited all the classics. We've done Rocky 4, that's all I wanted to do. Anyway, right, so on that note, lovely listeners, please do get in touch, especially listener 17. But yeah, take care and we will see you next time. So anyway, it's a cheerio from me.
And a toodle pip from me.
Rusted Junk. Rusted Junk. Rusted Junk. The Forgotten 80s Movies. The Forgotten 80s Movies.